Welcome to the next edition of the 617 podcast, the voice of the Boston fans, by the Boston fans. I'm Hollywood Ray Sean Buchanan with my guy, the real BK Bob Kelly. We have a special guest in the building. He is a contributor to Mess Live. You can also hear him on the Winning Plays podcast. Welcome to the show, Brian Robb. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just glad you came on. I'm like, chase you down in the garden. I was like, please come on the show.
No, it's good to see you there, man. I'm glad you did. It's like it's always fun to catch up with people. And this team, obviously, there's plenty to talk about right now. So I'm happy to come on.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, we got this little break for them because they don't come back until the first, I think.
Ray working in the garden has really been a gold mine for us. So
right,
I'm happy you're able to add to it, man. Yeah,
for sure. Great networking opportunity.
Yeah, no, for sure. So as we said, like I said, we're going to talk C's. Like obviously, they, besides the Bruins, are the hottest ticket in town. Obviously, we don't need to hurt ourselves by talking about the Patriots or the rest of us at this moment. Like I said, we'll get into that at another time. But yeah, so Celtics are, they're rolling. They are currently the number one seed, which is a far cry from what they were around this time last year. They started to catch fire at this time last year. So yeah, 42-17 so far. So just, with 23 games remaining in the regular season, just how do you see them? How do you see them faring out going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, the things are looking great for them. Their injury report just came out for Thursday night's game against the Patriots come back, and everyone's back. And so for them, they really haven't been fully healthy pretty much all year. They've had a couple games here and there, but for them to have the best record in the NBA going into the All-Star break, with guys being in and out so much, they're putting themselves in a great spot. So now you have the last 23 games or so to really just figure things out. How's the starting five look when they're all healthy together? How's, what guys are going to play in the playoffs in your bench rotation when you have so many more options now and you got Muscala in on a trade on top of it. So there's going to be a lot of things that they can, kind of tinker with, experiment with if you're Joe Mazzulla, but the one seed is there for the taking now, especially if Giannis dealing with this wrist injury that happened right before the All-Star break. They should be able to, they can take care of business and stay healthy here. That's going to be a huge edge heading into the postseason now that, Brooklyn's kind of falling apart here and in that 4-5 matchup.
It's crazy to me that this team we haven't even seen their ceiling yet this year. It's especially, you look at, I think the Milwaukee game last week really was the epitome of what this team has been this year. In terms of what we saw last year, how, we saw them run out of legs when it came to Golden State. Does all that depth, you think, solidify the fact that you think that, once we do get to those points in the playoffs, do you think that we have the legs to keep competing unlike we did last year?
Yeah, it's a great question. And to be honest, I do think the depth that they put together, it should help. Now, Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're both playing tons of minutes this year. But now with a healthier depth chart here for the last 23 games, you hope that Joe Mazzulla can kind of pull off the gas a little bit with both those guys and that they can still get that one seed without having to play them both 36, 37 minutes per game. But to his credit, Tatum has talked about how he's, was kind of motivated by, running out of legs during that finals run, and he got his own personal chef. He's supposedly been cutting out all the bad foods, and he clearly, he's got plenty of wear and tear on him, but he's, not showing it too much other than having a little bit of a slump heading into the All-Star break. So I do think, though, that you can kind of thread the needle if you're the Celtics right now and get that one seed without having to run these guys on the ground, especially guys like Al Horford and Rob Williams, too, who we know whether it's their age or just durability, those are the guys you really want to worry about their health going into the playoffs, and you don't want to run them down at all at the end of the regular season here.
Yeah, because that definitely was my concern. Like, I feel like, obviously, they've done pretty well with managing Al's minutes, I feel like. I didn't get the 12 minutes for Rob at the end for the Milwaukee game. I didn't get that, especially when he didn't play the night after against Detroit. I know that Detroit game was big to them because I know all of them talked about it after the game last week in the presser, saying, hey, this is the game we let slip by last year, and it kind of changed some things for us. So I know it was a point for some guys to come back and get that situated. But to go back to the depth, so yes, before the trade on the trade deadline day, they bring in Mike Muscala from OKC. Really in the first few games has been a godsend. Thankfully, especially he just lets it fly. But Tatum and Brown still need that guy behind him. I know some people think it's Hauser, some may think it's somebody else, but I still think they need another piece. So who should they go after, and why is it Will Barton?
Yeah, right. I mean, it is kind of, when you look what's left out there right now, he's the only one that really makes you turn your head a little bit, because they don't need another,
even a little.
Exactly. Now like you don't need John Wall, you don't need another true big guy after you get Muscala. So if Barton wants to come here and he's okay with just like not playing a lot and just being kind of an emergency, like he'll play a little bit in the regular season, I bet, if he comes, but he's not gonna be counted on for too much here, but just wants to get a ring, which he's in his 30s in his career now. That might be a pride for him. That's great. That's something that that's a nice little veteran shooter you have coming off the bench that has some good experience for years out in Denver there. It'll be a fascinating question though in terms of him. Is he looking for his next contract? Is he looking to go place for somewhere else? Because I'm sure will be a few teams after him on that front. Or does he want to win? And if he wants to win, then I'm sure Brad Stevens will want to bring him in. But I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Do you guys think he'll, at this point of his career, do you think he's going to be looking for a better chance at winning, or do you think he's going to just be looking to get on a playoff team so he can get just to play a little bit more?
I feel like you gotta be straight up with him and let him know. You know what I mean? Like, you're either here and you're with this and you're bought in to winning the ship and doing whatever it takes, or you're not. And there can't be any in between when it comes to a guy like that, because we saw what this team has with that Milwaukee game, right? Like the depth on this team is better than it's been in years. So it's a question to me whether you want to shake things up, or just let it ride. So I just think you got to be straight up with him. That's what they did with Blake, and I feel like he's bought in so much to his role that it's such a positive for this team. So you either are here to win or you're not. There's no in between. If you're not, then you got to pass on him.
Yeah, I mean, I echo that sentiment. I think that, obviously, I think the comparisons right away. So we saw Muscala, we're like, oh, he's, maybe he's the PJ Brown 2.0. And so people have been screaming for Will Barton. So we want him to be Sam Cassell 2.0. And I'm not here to Asia, but it's like,
that's a different animal though.
It is a different animal, but this team is very close to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're close to being on the verge of well, they are a contender. So it's not like we have to say, are they contender? They are a contender.
Well, I'm just saying Sam Cassell was more, he's such a vet, and he was such a second coach coming in there. I don't know if does Barton bring that at all? I mean, I don't know much about his track record.
Yeah, I don't think he brings that. I think he brings more. Like, I think he was getting 15 a game last year, I think, in Washington, I mean, in Denver. So he's someone that can fill it up. And once again, you need guys that can spell Tatum and Brown. But no, to answer your question, I think that he should come in with the mindset of, I've made my money. It's time to be remembered as a champion if I can be. And once again, he's not an all-time great, so he's not someone that's an all-star. He's not going to be a guy that wins MVPs, but to be someone like, okay, I was a contributing piece to a winning team, like, you'll be forever remembered here in Boston for doing that. So,
yeah, it's a fascinating, and I thought Danny Green would be that guy for the Celtics too.
Me too.
I thought that would have been the right fit there, but he went. He's still going to a good team in Cleveland, but I think he saw a situation in Cleveland where his odds are much better playing off that bench than they would have been in Boston there. So now, we don't know what options Barton has. The Celtics are certainly, they're going to make that call. They're going to at least inquire and see make that pitch that you guys talked about in terms of, hey, if you're in on this, we'd love to have you here, but we don't want to mess with the vibes and mess with a bunch of guys like Blake Griffin or Luke Cornett or Muscala, like guys that are saying, okay, you're going to play one game and not play the next 4 or 5, and that's fine.
I want to throw a little audible here, and go back to Mike Muscala, man. How much of an impact has he actually made? Because you might be around the team a little bit more than we are, because that's none for us. So, when he came in, do you feel the confidence level or something of an addition like that when it comes to the team? And just what were the vibes around the Muscala once he was brought in?
Yeah, no. So I was, just being in the locker room, he's definitely, the guys they like him a lot. He's fitting right in with everyone else, and what is already a very strong locker room there. And I think the key thing for him, it's like, I mean, he's kind of been in obscurity for the last 2 years in OKC. You know, not many people watch that team. That team's not on, you know, national TV a lot. But he was on some good teams back in the day on the Hawks with Al Horford, and he got even a year on the Sixers too. And now he just seems to have, you know, refined his shooting strokes where that's what he does, and he does it well. And like you guys, like, he gets shots up. I mean, he might lead a team in 3-point attempts per 36 minutes by the time this season done. But that's a good thing, because there's a lot of, I think, hesitant shooters on this team at times, whether it's, you know, Grant Williams or Derek White. He's playing great now, but when he misses a few in a row, he can lack confidence there. Muscala is not that guy, and so that's I think whether that's a good or a bad thing, like we'll find out. But I think that's a good option for Joe Mazzulla to have in a big man role, at least.
I feel like he's everything that Daniel Tice ever wanted to be. When it comes to the role that we've seen so far, I'm not trying to hate on Tice. I know that there's a war on Tice already, so we don't need to.
No, we don't
contribute to. But I'm just, the minutes I've seen from him was everything that I always wanted from Daniel Tice when he came back to this team last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to tell so early since you only played 3 games so far, but there's everything you've seen so far. From a 3-point shooting standpoint, no question. Like, Tice was never that reliable guy. Muscala is that guy. Like, he's someone you want taking those shots when they're wide open. He's going to see more wide open shots here than he has anywhere in his career, because this offense is just so good around him that who are you going to help off of? Like, nobody. He's going to get those looks.
Right, man.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it. Keep shoot the J. You know, that's where I'm at. Just shoot the J. Keep shooting. So it's not falling. So one of the treasures to the coaching. So right before the All-Star break, it was reported that Joe Mazzulla now has been given the head coach position, now making him the 19th head coach in Celtics history. So just speak to the job that he's done thus far, and just, you know, what do you think he needs to improve upon as we go into the postseason?
Yeah, it's been a tremendous few months for him. I mean, I think the buy-in that he's gotten from the players kind of speaks for itself, given, again, how well this team is melded together here, whether with guys going in and out, you know, not even having the starting lineup together for more than a couple games all year long, and to have the NBA's best record pretty much in the first half of the season is tremendous. And having
wire to wire, pretty much, too.
Pretty much, exactly. The way they came out of the gate, given all the turmoil and the fact that he only really had 2 days to prep before training camp in the head coaching role, that speaks volumes. And so, if you're grading him, and that's like, I give him, you know, like an A- like that. The only thing you wonder about a little bit and I don't mind the no timeout thing for most of the games. I mean, it's a situation where I like them playing through it. We've had a couple pretty big gaffes at the end of games, whether it was, you know, in Milwaukee or that loss in Miami, where you have to recognize when things are going wrong, and then, you know, don't keep that timeout in your pocket when the alternative is not getting a shot to begin with. So but that's rookie growing pains of the head coach. I expect him to kind of improve upon that by the time the postseason rolls around. But yeah, as long as, you know, he comes around on that, yeah, the minutes management stuff, we'll see how that goes. But that'll be easier now that everyone's healthy. But by and large, there's really not a lot to complain about here if you're evaluating him so far.
I think the most impressive thing for me, and I don't know if you feel it when you're, you know, around the team, is Tatum's buy-in, because, you know, we've heard time and time again how much this dude loved Ime. You know what I mean? He even spoke about it this past week, how, like, he's his favorite head coach he's ever had. And at the same time, for Mazzulla to come in and still get this kind of level out of Tatum that we've seen, to even see him go up a level. I don't know if you know, you feel that by him when you're around the team, but the Tatum thing is the most impressive to me by far.
No doubt. And Tatum's not alone. Like, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, you could even opening at beginning of training camp, they were open about, like, hey, like, we love Ime, like, we hope he's back. And so that's not an easy situation to manage, but he's catered to all those guys. Those guys, they liked him to begin with, so it's not like they and I think that was a big part of why he got the interim job, because, you know, he'd been around this team for a few years, and those guys had already bought into him already. But to get the full buy-in from those guys to the point now where Brad Stevens felt comfortable just saying goodbye to Ime, knowing that this was probably going to happen anyway, but, like, why are we dragging this on? We're just going to let's do it now. Let's empower this guy even more. And I think that's like it all starts with getting the buy-in from guys like Tatum and Brown, and that was clearly there.
Yeah, I think the Milwaukee game really solidified that too. Even though what happened at the end is a whole other thing, but just to have all those guys come up there and then play their ass off, and take them into overtime, like that to me, I think with them being at full strength as well. I got some people in Wisconsin that was like, "Yo, we didn't have Portis and so like." I'm like, "Come, stop it!" Like, hey, come on. As long as 34, 22, and 21 is out there, you're fine. Like, don't come at me saying that because you missed a couple of role players that it wasn't the same. So, but yeah, like I said, I was apprehensive about him getting the job. I thought that, I thought what most people thought at the beginning. I'm like, we figured it out with Ime. I don't know what this guy's gonna do. I thought he was too much. He was too much like Brad. Now, once again, I think Brad has done great in the front office. I think Brad has done. He's been very logical and had great reasoning with the moves that he's done. But it became stale as a coach. So I felt like when I'm hearing Joe, I'm like, okay. He sounds like Brad. He's moving like Brad. Well, like I say, he seems to be finding his own swagger. So hopefully that remains going into the regular season and obviously into the playoffs. So I want to talk about Tatum briefly because obviously he's having an MVP caliber season. 30 points, 8 rebounds, a little under 5 assists a game. So there's been a conversation wondering like, should he care about this? Should he care about that? So I wanted to ask you, should the regular season MVP matter to him? And then just if he is to win it, what's the path for him to win it? To kind of seal the deal for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean that's of course it's MVP he's been open about how he's team first, but there's no question anyone who can when you're in your prime and you're on a team like this, there's nothing wrong with going for it when you're putting up numbers like he did, and you have things like you're one of the most durable players in the NBA, so it's not like you're putting more miles on your body than you need to in this front. Like the team has needed him on the floor to win all these games. So that's, he's not really padding his numbers in blowouts most of the time. He's doing it in games where they need him to win. So if that's the way you want him to get an MVP, the way he gets it is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be tough right now, to be honest, because I think the fact his supporting cast is better than Jokic and Embiid, and Giannis, I think it's going to hurt him. And so I think the way he gets it is the Celtics get the top seed in the NBA, and B, a few of those teams either kind of fall out of the top range in the NBA a little bit, or B, a couple of those guys get hurt or miss a few games here and there. So not only is Tatum have the best record on the best team with the best numbers, he's played more than those guys. He played 10, 15 more games than those guys when all is said. So I think that's the way he does it. I think he has a decent shot, but there's work to be done, and a lot of it I think is just outside of his control.
But
yeah, Jokic is going to be tough to beat, man.
It is. Those numbers are huge.
It's unbelievable what he's doing over there. I mean, if you go on FanDuel every night, I've never seen a player with minus odds at triple doubles every single night. It's unbelievable. So I kind of want to transition to the ends of the bench when it comes to these role players and their future with the team and how it might affect, the playoff run moving forward. And that's my guy, Fast Peepee and Mr. Grant Williams. We both know they're looking for more playing time. They're looking for, a bigger role moving forward. Do you think, their transition into free agency is going to hurt this team at all down this stretch? Or do you think they'll fall in line?
I think they'll fall in line. I talked to Grant about this before the season started in terms of what his comfort level is, because it's a good question, because a lot of guys don't like playing in a contract year, and you can tell that affecting them, that they're worried more about their getting their numbers than necessarily what the team's doing. But he knows ultimately that I think team success will lead to more money for him, for Grant in particular, because he's getting his minutes right now. And the Celtics, I'll be honest, like, you hear all these rumors going around in terms of, other teams are making it. He's not going anywhere. Like, the Celtics are going to pay. Like, they need him. Al Horford is going to be 36, 37 years old. Rob Williams gets hurt all the time. You need a guy in Grant Williams who's very durable and is just going to be a huge part of a contender going forward here. So it's just a matter of how much he's going to get from them, and a good finish for the team makes them more inclined to pay up for him. And then Pritchard's a tough spot. Like that's, again, it's just going to be a situation where now that everyone's healthy, he's just going to have to wait his turn. He'll probably get minutes when nights get off, and then I think the best hope for him is that the team feels bad in the offseason and decides to move him on somewhere so he gets more of a chance. Because he's ready to fall in line right now. He's talked about it, but it's a tough situation for him because he's proven obviously he can be a big contributor, and instead of his chances going up, they've kind of just gone down this year when Malcolm Brogdon came in. So it's a tough spot, but I think he'll be ready to go if called upon.
Yeah, and every Celtics fan's worst nightmare. Assuming Jaylen Brown ends up making the All-NBA team this year, because I feel like that's almost locked up at this point. Do you think the Celtics give him that max contract once he gets that All-NBA nod moving forward?
I think they do. I think it's a situation where if you don't offer him that, I think he may feel disrespected. And I think that would really create potentially some like tension going into real free agency talk. So maybe you don't offer him like the max super max, but like you would thoroughly have to offer more. The range that you can offer him gets much bigger if he does make All NBA there, and you have to make a big enough offer where he can't think twice about turning it down. So I think it really, if they get back to the finals this year and he makes All NBA, I think that's a no brainer. You lock that in. He's shown that he can be a clear cut number 2 on a title contender year after year now, and given that he's in his prime, you don't mess with that. You have to. Would you guys think twice about it, or would you guys think you give that over to him?
You got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah, you got to do it. Yeah, two. I mean, I think it's 5 years, 290 is the full max. And listen, he got drafted the year before Jayson. Okay. Oh well. He's been consistent. He's gotten better every single year. Do the turnovers drive me insane? Absolutely. It drives everyone insane. 27-7-5 for your number 2 guy. Once again, he's talked about the sacrifice. Now, I didn't feel the same vibes from him as Terry Rozier when he talked about it a few years ago. Oh, no one has sacrificed more than me. I didn't get that vibe from Jaylen Brown. He just said, look, I could be that guy, but I know that in order for us to win, I have to take a back seat or just be the 1B, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, there's no, without hesitation. And once again, what grows back, you talked about wanting to win. You've been here 20 years. You're doing these documentaries about how, the 20 years of Celtics Nation. Great. You've been to the finals twice. 3 times, excuse me. Been to the finals 3 times. Yeah, do whatever needs to be done. Like, forget the luxury tax. Winning will bring money. That it always does. So I say that's a Grant. I'll say that's to Brian Pritchard. I'll say to Jaylen Brown. If you win, the money will come. It's that simple. It proved it for Golden State. It's proven it for guys like when Toronto won a few years ago. Like, you're gonna get paid. So just sit back. Make sure you do your job. We steal that from New England, but make sure you do your job and let the rest take care of itself. In my opinion. So,
yeah. I couldn't agree. I was just making sure that you weren't in the split up JB JT camp before this, because it was unreal, that whole narrative. I don't know what happened when it came to the Boston sports or fan base, but it's you have to do it, because what else is there out there that you're going to get that ever compares to what you have to Jaylen Brown? That's what I don't think anyone ever got, was like, there's so many talented players in the NBA, but Jaylen Brown is still in the top 10 to 20 of that list. So you're not getting much better than what you got with JB and JT. So you got to lock them down. You have to.
No doubt about it. It's more clear than ever. I think it was clear even a couple years ago before things came together here, but now there's no second guessing.
Yeah, exactly. So I know we're getting close to time. So we want to end with something fun. So kind of putting you on the spot with this one here, though. But give us your old time Celtics starting 5.
Oh wow, all time starting 5. Are we doing like forever? Or are we doing like in the last century here or the last like 2000?
However,
So
whoever comes to mind, man.
Yeah. So I'll do it from when I
Forsberg, and it was pretty fun. Like,
so I'll do it here. I've been covering the team since 2009, so I'll do it in that range because I feel like that's when I can actually give decent perspective.
Okay.
Compared to the all-time stuff, which is when I'm just like a fan like anyone else watching the rest of those days. But a big Paul Pierce guy, so obviously top of that, that's an easy one. Kevin Garnett as well. I think no better locker room interview out there. That's what you saw in the court, what you could see behind the scenes as well. Everything kind of matched up there. I was a big Isaiah Thomas's reign there in like that the year he was healthy before he got traded. Like the numbers he was picking up in the fourth quarters of those games. Like I gotta give him some respect. I gotta flight him in for that one season there because
King of the Fourth, man. King of the
Fourth. That was a hell of a run to cover.
Yeah.
To see that the crowd was hyped that year as as much as like this year. I feel like because of what he did that year.
I went to the Wizards game 7 when Kelly O was the hero, bro. I've never seen the Celtics team as hyped or the crowd as hyped as during that 3-4 year stretch. It was unreal. Unreal.
And even to add to that, right? I remember I was at the Miami game where he scored 29 in the fourth. And I'm just like, yo, this dude is unreal. Like he was hitting stuff in the parking lot. So yeah, I'm not mad at the IT. Just those IT. Here's KG. Okay, you got 2 more.
Yeah, that got 3. Beyond that, I gotta go Tatum. And then it's tough to leave Jaylen Brown off, but I think I'm gonna go Horford as the last. He's got the extra body of work. He had the extra chunk of time before, and based on what he did then and now what he's been able to do in these last couple years here, now we know a couple years more. I think that is, if I'm rounding out a full starting 5 here, like a Horford KG front court, I think defensively I can go toe to toe for anyone. So that's what I'm going with. I feel good about this lineup here.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, that's powerful. I said, once you put, granted, some people may not have Pierce, and that's fine. But like once you said Pierce, I'm like, because like I said, he's my favorite player.
Oh yeah, that's it's gotta be a Pierce guy.
And it's okay. Like I said, we could change the rules as our show. Like if JB's your 6th man, that's fine.
Sure.
Avery Bradley would be my 6th man personally. What he was defensively for a few years here was really special. Like Doc used to say, he's an on-ball defender right now. Like he's an NBA defender right now, and then out the offense, would catch up. So yeah. Well, like I said, I think we might have a different conversation come June if these guys end up winning. We may have to rearrange some things, so that means it'll be a good thing. So before you get out of here, man, just tell us where they can find you if they want to read your pieces or hear any content that you're a part of.
Yeah, no, you can check out all my stuff on masslive.com. Winning Plays podcast as well, and then the Celtics show on the Sports Up on Saturdays at noon. I'll always be on there with Jim Murray and Chris Gasper. So, but yeah, fun chatting with you guys, and I'll look forward to seeing you back over at the Garden Race, Sean.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. So, all right, so for
if they win at all, you got to come back.
Oh yeah, no, hit me up. I'll be back.
Yeah, please. Yeah. So for Brian Robb, Real BK Bob Kelly, I'm Hollywood Sean Buchanan. We'll see you next time. Peace.